It's important to remember that the drawings we create in AutoCAD are construction drawings. This means that someone, somewhere, will be referring to our drawing in order to construct our design. Knowing this, we need to be sure that our design is well dimensioned such that it can be accurately reproduced in the real world. Let's look at how we can add dimensions to our drawings. Now we're going to open a file. I'm going to come up and click my Open icon. And we're going to look inside the Chapter 12 folder, located inside the Exercise Files directory. And I'd like to open up drawing number 1, the birdhouse drawing. So I'm going to highlight that guy and click Open. Now this is a simple drawing of a birdhouse, and we're going to use this guy to play around with several of the dimensioning features. Now if I want to create dimensions, I'm going to turn on the Dimension toolbar. I can do that by moving my cursor over an existing tool and right-clicking. And in the list of toolbars, I'm going to come up and select Dimension. And when I do, the Dimension toolbar pops up right in the middle of my screen. Now this guy's going to be important to us, so I'm going to dock him to my interface. Let me move my cursor up to the blue area, and I'll click and hold, and I'll push this guy up to the top of the interface, and I'll release to dock him. Now I would like to dimension my birdhouse from front to back. I'm going to do this by using a linear dimension. Let me come up and click my linear icon. And AutoCAD is asking me to specify my first extension line origin. Generally speaking, when I want to create a dimension in AutoCAD, I'll click one point and then another, and AutoCAD will create the dimension line between them. It is important when we create dimensions that we use object snaps. Object snaps are the only way to guarantee that our dimensions are accurate. Now, I happen to have a running object snap set for endpoint. So let me move close to my birdhouse, and I'll click. I want to dimension from this point, and I'll come over and click this point. And as I move away with my cursor, I can click one more time to set the location of the dimension. Now let me zoom in on this guy. Notice this dimension is to 4 decimal spaces, and it's ugly. Dimensions are kind of like text. The default settings aren't the most attractive, and in a future session we'll learn how to make our dimensions look better. For right now, once again, we're concerned about function more than form. Let me back up. I would like to place another linear dimension. Let me move up and click my linear icon. And I'm going to dimension the roof of my birdhouse. Let me click the very top for my start point, and then I'll come down and click this end point. And notice as I pull up, AutoCAD is giving me the horizontal distance between those points. If I move my cursor to the left, AutoCAD will give me the vertical distance between those points. So a linear dimension, by definition, will give us the true horizontal or vertical distance between the points that we click on. I'm just going to go ahead and pull this guy up, and I'll click to place my dimension. Now this is in contrast to the next dimension style we're going to look at. That is the aligned dimension. Let me click on this icon. This represents an aligned dimension. I'm going to click my points. Let me click the end point here, and I'm going to come down and click the end point of the roof. Notice the dimension I'm creating now. An aligned dimension will give us the true distance between the points that we click on. Essentially, I am dragging a dimension line that is parallel to the 2 points that I clicked. Once again, I'm going to click one more time to place my dimension. Let's create a continuous dimension string. This is something that we typically see on mechanical and architectural drawings. Now, to create a dimension string, I need to have a dimension to start from. I would like to create a continuous dimension string that represents the elevations of my birdhouse. Now, since I'm dimensioning the vertical distances, I'm going to be using a linear dimension. Let me come up and click linear. I'm going to move over and I'll click my first endpoint. I'll come down and click my next endpoint, and then I will move my cursor to the side, and I'll click one more time to place the dimension. I now have my initial dimension that I can create my continuous string from. Let me move up and click this icon. This guy represents my continuous string. And as soon as I click the icon, notice AutoCAD is giving me the rubber band effect from my previous dimension. At this point, all I have to do is click the endpoints where I would like to create my dimensions. I'll click here, I'll click the top of the base, and I'll click the bottom. When I'm finished, I will right-click to finish my string and select Enter. Notice AutoCAD is still in the command. It's saying Select Continued Dimension. I could create another string if I wish. Watch if I come over and click this dimension, I can pull a continuous string from this guy. Let's dimension to this end of the birdhouse. When I'm done, I can right-click and select Enter, and then I'll hit Escape to get out of the command. Let's create some baseline dimensions. Now, baseline is similar to continuous in that I have to have a dimension to start from. So I'm going to create some baseline dimensions on the front of my birdhouse representing elevation. So I'm going to use a linear dimension. Let me click linear. I want the vertical distance between the endpoint here and the endpoint here, and I'll pull this guy away. Now that I have a dimension to start from, let's create our baseline dimensions. I'm going to come up and click my baseline icon. When I do, AutoCAD's giving me the rubber band effect from the previous dimension. I'm just going to come down and click each point that I'd like to dimension to. I want a dimension to the endpoint here. I want a dimension to the top of the base, and I want a dimension to the bottom. When I'm finished, I can right-click and select Enter. Notice the baseline acts just like continuous. I could create baselines from another dimension. I'm just going to hit my Escape key to jump out of the command. Notice my baselines are all measuring from the original location. Unfortunately, they kind of overlap a little bit and they are on the ugly side, but once again, we will learn how to correct that in a future session. Let's create an angular dimension. I'm going to zoom in on the front of my birdhouse. And if I want to create an angular dimension, I'm going to come up and click my angular icon. Now, to create an angular dimension, all we have to do is click one line and then another, and AutoCAD will dimension between them. So I'll click this line and then this one, and then I'll move my cursor away and click to set the location of the dimension. Let's make one more. I'm going to come up and click the angular icon again, and we'll dimension the angle down here. Let me click this line and this one. As I pull away, AutoCAD is creating the dimension. Watch this. If I move my cursor outside the lines, AutoCAD will dimension the supplementary angle. If I move below, AutoCAD is dimensioning the opposite angle. And if I move over to the right, I'm getting the opposite supplementary angle. So the location of our cursor will dictate which angle is being dimensioned. I'm going to click right here to place my dimension. Let's create a radial dimension. If I want to create a radial dimension, I'm going to come up and click my radius button. AutoCAD is asking me to select an arc or circle. I'm just going to click this circle right here. AutoCAD gives me the radius. By default, it is set to a liter. I'm just going to pull away, and I'll click to set the location of my dimension. Let's try a diameter. If I'd like to dimension a diameter, I'm going to come up and click my diameter icon. AutoCAD's asking me to select arc or circle. Let me grab this circle. And once again, I'm creating a liter. Let me pull away, and I'm going to click to place the liter in my drawing. Now be careful. I have a running object snap. If I was to try and drop this liter right here, my number would snap right to the end of that line. So be cautious with the running object snaps when you're placing your dimensions. I'm going to click right here to place my dimension. Notice the diameter dimension contains the diameter symbol. This is how we can tell the difference. Based on the dimensioning skills we've just learned, we now know enough dimensioning types to fully dimension this part. Using AutoCAD's dimensioning tools, along with our object snaps, we can quickly and easily document our design and allow our contractor to accurately reproduce our design out in the field.